again, this is Tyler with Legendary Vegan Art, and I'm here at the Big 1-0, part 10 of my watercolor portrait series, painting a portrait of Jared from Hot Pepper Gaming. So today I'm going to work on defining the ear, because this is kind of a red mess right now. I'm going to darken the hair one more time. I'm going to work on the eyes, but not quite in that order. I think I'm going to do the ear first, and while that's drying I'm going to work on the eyes and then do the hair last. That way the eyes aren't near enough to the hair for that to run together, but I need the ear to dry before I start working on this dark of the hair. So I have a little bit of a couple newcomers on my palette. I replaced my old raw umber with a new one. I actually have a nice tube of Core brand raw umber. I just ditched the old sample color that I'd scraped off of a sample kit, and I also got a carbon black, which I've not used before, but it looks promising. Some of my darks I've had trouble getting dark enough, so I'm hoping this carbon black will help me fix that. So what did I say to do first? The ear. Okay, so let's get some extra water on this red flesh tone mixture. See what we can't just draw out with what we've got. This is going to be a good starting place. This going to be dark enough. It's pretty light. Let's get a lot more pigment in here, but keep our brush pretty dry so it's a little more concentrated and goes down a little more precisely. So, and this, yeah, we need more color. Less water, more color. Managing how much, here we go, a nice dark puddle. Managing how much pigment's on your brush is always a challenge when you're starting out watercolor. It's definitely taken me a while to learn, and I don't have a perfect handle on it yet. Far from it, but I'm still learning. It's still fun. This might be a little too much. It's a little better. Let's soften that out before that dries too crazy hard. Oh, I might soften that out after the fact. Looks like there's a shape here. Let's not overdo this. I'm going to take my scrubby brush, a little bit damp, and ease these edges out a little. You know, that's not perfect, but it's a pretty good abstraction of an ear, and I don't want that to be the focal point. It's not, well, actually it looks kind of funny now that I see it. Looks a little crunched, but I'm going to come back to that a little later. I'm glad that I've put in a few details. Actually, let's lift up this, which brush am I using? Lift up this color here a bit. Yeah, let's lift up to a little bit of a lighter pink color in some of these areas. Don't have a very good, it's not very balanced. So, there's definitely not enough contrast in this ear. That's what's getting me. A little more water. Scrub this up. Might have made this color a little too shockingly orangish red, but I can just pull it up a little. Okay, and touch in just a little more orange. Here, it's gotten a little too light. I don't want to do back and forth forever, but I do want to touch in this orange here again. And I'll probably leave that alone for the time being. Alright, it's time to mix up a nice dark for the hair. Take my burnt umber. Put that down. Raw umber. Nice and dark. Don't want this too watery. Pull up some deoxazine purple. Get a nice deep color in there. I'm going to pull in a little carbon black. A lot of people say you shouldn't mix colors with black because it, dulls down the color, but sometimes that's exactly what you want. I need this to be pretty dull and dark and black. Okay. I don't think there's enough water in this. Let's test that out. It's pretty dark. Let's bring in some more raw umber. Little touch of extra water. Okay, I'm ready to go with just this. Okay. Some of these areas I'm going to try and leave, but I don't know how precise I'm going to try and get with that. Right, this is finally looking dark enough. Grab some of this white. This is encroached a little further than I want it to. Okay. Maybe have to be mixing up a little more of this as I go, but that's okay. I'd prefer not to have to do that, but that's how it's going to have to be. That's another sort of weak area of mine that I'm finding out in watercoloring, is mixing up enough of a really dark mixture is pretty tricky. Yeah, that's already lighter. I'm going to touch a little water just so this flows, but let's bring in some more of this raw umber, burnt umber, violet, purple, more of that. It's nice and dark. Let's really get this color in where I need it to be. No, I think I'm not going to use I think I'm not going to leave light areas. I think I might try and lift out some lighter hair areas later. Already this is looking too dark. I might pull in some more black. Try not to get too much water. I think this might just be the nature of watercolor. I might have to let it be what it's going to be after this layer goes on. Let's get the shape of this hair a little better. There's sort of a wedge there. Comes up. Nice and dark. And down here, I'm going to put in a few of the hair strands. Actually, I'm going to do that now with my thinner brush. Thinner round brush. This guy. Turn my tablet back on. It keeps going to sleep on me. Okay. Okay. Again, this is an area where I don't feel the most confident is painting hair, but I'm just gonna do what I can do. See how it turns out. I don't know what I'm trying to do there. Put that up a little. Okay. Get this shape that sort of protrudes there. Or this. Or that. Or these. Nice dark color. Might have been too much black in that mix. Just lifted that up a little. Put my slightly redder burnt umber mix down. Or this. Burnt umber, raw umber. A little bit of that violet. It's coming out very dark, but what you're going to do, you have to just go back and sort of redo this, adding a newer, darker color. Didn't want to have two, but looks like I'm gonna. Well, it looks like this brush is putting it down darker, so for better or for worse, I'm gonna have to use that one. Some water. Oh, this purple's coming apart. I made a big mess in my palette here. I'll do something drastic to clean it off a little later. Well, it took me a little while to figure out how to do this the way I wanted to, but it's kind of coming together now, finally. Oops, that's a lot of purple. Or this. Oops, that's the wrong color. Losing my marbles. Well, like I said, it took me a while to get this right, but better late than never. Stick by that any day, artistically. Because sometimes it just takes you a while to figure out the right thing. Well, I'm not 100% satisfied with how odd that whole process turned out, but it is what it is, and I'm going to have to let it be for the context of this painting, I think. I'm fighting the urge to go back and toy with it later. I'm not saying I'm not going to, but I am also not saying I am. Let's try and unify these colors a little more. And call that done. Okay, so what I really wanted to do today, get this brush really nice and clean. I had a load of dark colors on it. What I really want to do is improve the eyes. I've been noticing that this eye is still too big, and I also want to get the color of the whites of the eyes better. So let me start with this eyelash, pulling that color in to decrease the size of this eye, and while that's drying I'll work on the whites of this eye and then come back to the left eye. Excuse me. Get some of this and pull up this brown, because it's just too far out. Probably want pulled in to, yeah, well, I'll just put it in. Should I use this or should I use my liner? I think I should use that liner again. Where'd it go? Oh, well, it's gone. I'll use this one. Alright, let's see some of this. Okay, that's better. Shape of the eyelash looks a bit like this. Darken some of these areas. Okay, I'm gonna leave that to be for now, and work on the whites of this eye. So I'm gonna put some water down here so my colors can flow evenly into where I want them to be. Just dampen the paper. Might be a little too wet. And dampen this side. Okay, let's get some of this cool red we have right here. I like that. It's gonna look terrible in Bloodshot until I feather that out a little, but that's kind of the point. It's not supposed to look like he's having a good time. And that's actually a lot better. Dark side out a little. The light side out a little more. Okay, that's pretty good. Other side is a little more warm and light peachy color, so I'm not going to go into the same color I just had. I'm going to take a little more of this color. That in. And there's a bit of a lighter highlight here, a darker line here. I might have to band that in a little later. Actually, maybe a little wait until it's just not as damp as it is now, but give it just a moment to dry. And I might be able to just dot that in. Yes. Yeah, not picking up much pigment here. I don't want to overdo it, but I think I can do this. Maybe not. Don't want to try too hard for something that's not going to work. Okay, well, that's about what I was going for. Sorry, this episode's running a little long. You do what you gotta. Okay, let's get this red color again. This might be a little bit too magenta, but I don't know, it might not. Maybe putting in just a little bit of a dark red color for his tear duct right here. I think this will actually do just fine. It's not a white border, so I'm going to just go right up to where it needs to be. Okay, a bit like that. Something still looks off. I may have to just grin and bear it. Yeah, don't know. I think I need to darken this side of the eye where it's curving away from the viewer a bit. But I don't want it to be as red as this. I might pull in just a little bit of a neutralizing color. It's hard to do that carefully, but I think that might actually work pretty well. Pull in just a little bit of my phthalo green there, which I don't use much. It's a very strong color. Doesn't overpower mixes. So this eye looks a lot smaller than it should be, or this cornea. Still working on that. But I think if I feather out this wet area here, pull that towards the eye, may help look a little better. Don't know. It's something. Helps a bit. Okay, well that's the hair, the eye, and the ear. Should I touch up that ear again? I probably should a little later, but not at the moment. I think I've done enough. This episode's running a little longer than my 10 to 15 minute ideal, so I'm going to wrap up a few more things in the next video. This is going to start really wrapping up pretty quickly. I hope I only have a couple more videos left to call this done. But there's definitely a few things left to do. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Until then, keep it vegan. Bye guys.